The Wild West, bringing us outlaws, duels, and now sexy gunslinging thick thighs caked up baddies ready to gun you down. What's good, guys? CJ here, and welcome back to another DNA video. Today we have the awaited Lynn ultimate build video. In this one, we're going to break down this character. I'm going to show you guys the build I'm currently using, the Wedges, the characters I partner up with her, and the geniemons. All of that while breaking down what this character brings to the table and why I think she's so good. Now, I gotta be honest, Lynn is an absolute monster of a character. She's very good at pretty much everything, whether it's wave clearing, bossing, or whatever it may be. And what I really like about this unit is the fact that you can build her in multiple different ways and still generally reach the same results. With that being said, let's move on over to my actual build. Now, here we have my personal Lynn stats, and you guys will see that it's a little bit mixed. It's a little bit balanced rather than being like top heavy towards one specific stat, and I'll tell you guys exactly why that is in a second. With that said, I want to clarify this is Intron 1, and even though, yes, I have multiple shards that I can get her Introned up, and I can even get her more shards because I have some clues in the bag, I preferred to make these first videos without having the character all duped up and all that good stuff. Otherwise, it'll just be a little bit too hard for players getting into the game to know what to go for these characters. And right now, without any dupes, Lynn is performing absolutely beautiful. With that said, though, later down the line, I will be dropping build videos for every single character maxed investment. So they're going to be fully duped up. All their introns are going to be unlocked. Their weapons are going to be fully duped. And the gold demon wedges are also going to have all their investment put into them. With that said, let's begin talking about Lynn, and we're going to kick things off with the skills because you guys told me that you like the skills breakdown first. And here we have the Deadly Blossom. Pretty much this is going to deal laceration damage, and laceration damage is going to allow you to deal even more damage, right? When under the influence of laceration, every time the enemy takes ranged weapon damage from Lynn, the lacerated wound count is increased by 1. When the laceration duration ends, deals pyro damage equivalent to lacerated wound count times laceration damage to the enemy once. And you guys can see the stats right here, the sanity cost and all that good stuff, okay? Moving on from that, we have her ultimate, pretty much where she's cosplaying as Mesa from Warframe, from those of you that know, and this is going to be her bread and butter. Switches the ranged weapon to Hansel and Gretel. In this state, Lynn can shoot and use skills, but can only move using Deadly Blossom. Shooting deals damage to all enemies in front, during which Lynn gains 1 stack that increases Lynn's attack speed by a certain percent up to 35 stacks. Using Hansel and Gretel continuously consumes sanity, during which Lynn is immune to hit stun when taking damage. When sanity drops to 0 or skill is used again, sheets Hansel and Gretel. And you guys right here can see the sanity cost per second, and the overall damage and attack speed boost that she's going to have while she's in her Gunpowder Revelry mode, okay? Moving on over from that, we have her passive Tactical Rapid Fire. When not shooting, Lynn gains 1 stack of preload per second up to 6 stacks. When shooting, consumes all stack of preload to gain suppressing fire for a period of time. Suppressing fire increases the damage based on the number of consumed preload stacks. Cannot gain preload stacks during suppressing fire, okay? Now, here we have her suppressing fire duration with my build and the damage boost per stack. Now that we know what she does, she's a character that you're pretty much going to want to do certain things in order, right? At least in this stage, once you have her fully introned up, she kind of works a little bit different and is a lot easier to use. With that said, you want to make sure you apply your Deadly Blossom. You want to get that laceration going. Then you're going to be going into your Gunpowder Revelry to deal all your damage. That's pretty much the bread and butter of the character. Simple to use in that regard. And then obviously when you intro into a fight and you're not shooting for a little bit, you're going to gain those stacks of preload. So that's pretty much everything there is to the character, okay? Pretty damn simple. Moving on over to this character, the reason I decided to go for skill duration and skill efficiency in a relatively balanced manner is because I feel that for a character like Lynn that has so much going for her, if she's not fully intron, which actually changes the way she works quite a bit. Some of these introns are pretty crazy, like their last one is very good, is going to pretty much apply laceration without you having to do all that other stuff. I feel that it's better to have a little bit of duration and efficiency. I don't know how she's going to perform at maxed Intron. We will test that and I will make a video on it, but right now she's been performing really good. A balanced mix of duration and efficiency has allowed me to get a pretty nice solid, you know, sanity cost and sanity cost per second, which is really nice. This is usually like 10, I believe, and this is 9, so it has gone down quite a bit. And my passive still stays active for about 10 seconds. Ideally, I'll eventually bring this up with gold wedges, giving my passive duration to my comfort zone would be around 15 or so seconds, and then I still want these to be generally a little bit less expensive. Nonetheless, this is pretty damn solid so far. Moving on over from that, let's talk about her demon wedges. This is what I'm currently rocking. Once again, very balanced build, and there is room for change. First off, we have the Midnight Sun, and it's pretty damn simple. It's here for the pyro attack, skill damage, and skill duration. Then we have Devouring Wildfire. It gives you skill damage, and when a pyro character deals damage, you gain 1 stack that increases their attack by 1% for 15 seconds, up to 120 stacks. You need this on every Lynn build. This doesn't change. This is very, very, very good. Then we have Prime Morale for the big chunk of stats on pretty much everything and that little morale boost. And then here is where things get interesting, okay? We're going to move on to the right side before I talk about this slot right here. So we're rocking 2 Blaze Eternity and 2 Blaze Inspo. And then on this last slot, you can interchange it. You can either rock a Blaze Inspo or you could rock a Blaze Eternity. Honestly, it just depends on what you want. With that said though, there are players that preferably lean towards that very nice skill duration, and they're just stacking skill duration all the way across, and there are others that will lean towards skill efficiency. Personally, from my testing, I think that 2 Blaze Eternity and 2 Blaze Inspo is just the sweet spot for me, and then this last spot right here is very interchangeable. You can go ahead and choose to go for more efficiency or more duration without any problem whatsoever. And then other things that I've seen people use, which is kind of weird, I haven't tested myself, but if anybody out there has tested, I believe is this one right here. Hold on, let me double check. It's not that one. It's one of these weird mods over here, bro. Let me see. It's the one that decreases skill damage but gives you more damage as you ramp up. Nonetheless, I'm not using it, but I've seen some people say that it's pretty interesting. Nonetheless, if you guys know which mod I'm talking about or which wedge I'm talking about, let me know in the comment section below. I didn't want to test it. I think it might be a little bit weird, but there is a mod right over here somewhere that allows you to actually deal less damage with your skills. Like, it lowers your skill damage, but then gives you more of a ramp up. Now, I'm personally not going to rock that, so let's move on from that. Now let's talk about the weapons. For the weapons, I have Wainwraith for just a stat stick of 24% skill damage. Very solid weapon. You use it on a lot of characters, so if you're thinking of eventually, you know, duping up a weapon, this is definitely a solid one to go for. There's nothing really else to talk about this. If you want to know what I'm using on it, I'm literally just using it as a way to travel across the map. You guys know my way to just fly and zoom across the map. That's literally it. From there, we have the ranged weapons, and I'm personally using Blue Current Pulse. I think it's a very good weapon for Lynn. It works beautifully with her. It gives her skill duration, which is really nice. It adds to her skill duration, which is solid. But here's where it gets better. When its projectiles hit enemies or the environment, they bounce once they're dealing damage with this weapon. Increases dual pistol damage by 45% for 15 seconds. So 45% damage for 15 seconds. Okay, this is solid, and once you max dupe this weapon, it's going to be 90% damage for 30 seconds. So you're always going to have uptime on this buff if you're doing your rotations correctly. This is a very solid weapon, and for my build, this is what I'm rocking. I'm rocking Celerity to give me more attack speed, Impetuous for attack and crit chance, Impetuous for more attack, Fold Over for multi-shot, Celerity for more attack speed, and I lower my attack because I don't really care for that too much, Rain of Quivers so we can have more multi-shot, Arrow for maxed ammo, and Speed Boost for projectile speed. Very simple, very basic build when it comes to this weapon. And then finally, we have Hansel and Gretel, her consonance weapons. And then here we have attack percentage, which is very basic. We have penetration for that spike attack, which is really, really solid, as you guys could see right here. Then we have fold over for multi-shot, and then we have celerity for attack speed. Now, some people can go ahead and run crit rate or crit damage somewhere in here. This is just the way I'm rocking it, and so far it's worked wonderful. It has been very, very solid. Moving on from that, we have the geniemons, which is the shiny Pyroot tail. If you didn't get the geniemon from the battle pass, the fire dragon, I think this one's very, very good. There might be other options out there. Some people like maybe using, I believe, is the bird, because you get a little bit of sanity. But me personally, I think this one is just really, really good. I have been loving using this one right here. Let me scroll up all the way. There you go. I even have it maxed out and max duped. So let's talk about what the shiny Pyroot tail offers. Spawns 1 activated salve volatile, 1 tranquilizer dewdrop, and 1 ammo supply chest, which is really nice having all of that, right? A whole bunch of little things that are going to just give you more utility. And on top of that, it increases skill duration for self and allies by 30% for 15 seconds. And the cooldown on this is 30 seconds. Right, which is very, very, very good, because you'll pretty much have it almost every rotation, which is absolutely solid, okay? And then the passive skill increases pyro attack for the main character and the combat partners by 2.4%, and the stats provided by demon wedges with the prefix phoenix. So this is just a very solid little geniemon to rock on her. And then if you're going for the traits, pretty much the same traits I have on this here thing. Attack percentage, max HP, max shield. And the one trait that I'm looking for, I'm not entirely sure where it is. I'm not going to waste time going through it, but it's the one that allows you to have more cooldown on your active skill right here, on your support skill. And it's going to lower the cooldown on this if I'm not mistaken. So that's pretty much the one I would go for. That's the build that I would go on here. And that's really it when it comes to the characters. To this character. Moving on from this character, we're going to talk about the supports for Lynn and how I built them, even though I haven't like fully invested into them, because hey bro, you know what I mean, them track slots be hella expensive. I'm kind of cashed on them right now. So yeah, with that said though, we have the MC looking all good. And the MC is pretty simple. I've went for skill duration. It's that simple. This is not an MC guide, so I'm not going to break it down. But the MC is just overall going to be very nice. It's going to provide what the MC does. But this one's what I really like. It's going to grant that ultra shield and is going to increase weapon damage. So the reason I stack duration is to make sure that I last a buttload. Incandescence is going to last for 25 seconds, which is an absolute beast. It's going to give you 43% damage or weapon damage boost for 25 seconds. That is a solid boost, and I'm gonna tell you why I try to go for 25 seconds, because it just feels right. It matches pretty much everything else in Lynn's kit. It covers everything during that incandescence duration, which is very solid. Now, everything else around here is really nice. Using Flare grants trigger probability increase for self and allies, which is really good. And then as a support, increases weapon damage for self and allies by a nice little extra 8%, which overall is pretty damn good, okay? Moving on from that, we have Daphne. And I'm going to tell you why Daphne is so good, but before that, on this character, I have also gone for skill duration. I also think that skill duration is just an easy way to build the character, to get her rocking with your Lynn without having to really invest too much. Now, the reason I really like this character, one, is going to give you that heal, which is really good, and it is going to, you know, scale on attack, so it's really nice. It has a nice duration on it, and it's not too expensive, right? Then we have the buff. Heal selves and allies applying purification formula, briefly restrains nearby enemies and inflicts the K formula on them. Generates 1 acid projectile per affected target, ally on enemy up to a maximum of 12, and purification formula gains bonus anemo damage, which is really good. Now, you might be wondering, how does this fit with Lynn? A lot of people constantly ask why this character is good with Lynn. This gains anemo bonus damage. Is going to allow Lynn to proc a bunch of anemo hits. When you're seeing Lynn, you're going to see a bunch of green numbers. That's pretty much what's going on. She's proccing that thing right there because of this unit, and the damage ramp up from having her on the team is actually going to be pretty solid. Overall, pretty damn good. And then right here, we have her passive, increases Daphne's range weapon trigger probability once he possesses Azoth projectile. So overall, this character is a healer, but because of the buff, because of the healing, and because of the passive, she's actually providing quite a bit, and she does bring some damage through the buff to the team, right? One thing I almost forgot to mention about Daphne, on top of the fact that she provides the healing, the buffs that we already talked about, and her passive, is that over here, she's also going to give increased crit chance for self and allies when she's a support unit. And I want to make sure you guys know, this crit chance right here is multiplicative and is not additive. So you're not getting 40% crit chance on top of your crit chance. It's multiplying your crit chance with what you already have, right? by this 40%. So it's multiplicative. I want to make sure you guys know that, because a lot of people don't. And I do hope that some of the things I've talked about regarding Daphne kind of help you understand how this unit is good and what she brings to the table regarding the Lynn comp. Now, when it comes to the build, once again, we're just going for a skill duration. You guys can build that however you want. We don't need to go into the demon wedges because, like I said, they're not really that good, and this is not a build for this character. Now, I want to throw some extra things in here that some people talk about. Some other units that people can use with her in case they haven't built their Daphne or their MC. They can go ahead and throw Truffle and Filbert into here, which we already know. I have a guide on the channel. Check out Truffle and Filbert. Very, very solid. They can also throw Tabitha. You might be surprised with Tabitha on here, but I've seen some people actually doing work with Tabitha and Lynn, which is kind of surprising. Lynn and Tabitha have some interesting synergies that actually work pretty well. And honestly, that's really it. I've also seen some Hellfire being thrown in here, and people have said they also synergize in a very interesting way. I haven't tested this myself, so I can't speak on that. And another character that you can somewhat throw in here is Margie. I've seen people run Margie as well. I haven't tested that myself, but I have seen videos of people testing this character, and she also works well. But my preferred two for now are going to be the MC, and it is going to be Daphne, giving me both damage, utility, and some heals. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's really going to be it for this video. If you've enjoyed it, do be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and let me know what character build you want to see next. For now, have a great day. Thank you all for watching, and peace.